welcome back to Gismondi on Wine. Very pleased today to have with us Bernardino Sani. He joins us from Argiano in Tuscany. Bernardino, how are you?
I'm fine. Thank you so much for hosting me today, and it's a great pleasure to be here. We are living hard times, but luckily in Argiano everything is good. Everybody's working. Things are going on, and we try to work hard and to do the best for.
Well, we should start there because Argiano is a very old property. So you've seen a pandemic now, but you've been around a long time. Let's start with how old you are and where the property is.
So yes, you're right. Argiano, I think they even saw the pest in the medieval and Renaissance time. So they saw a lot of pandemics. We like we are now, the winery dates back to the 16th century. So 1580 was the villa of Argiano, the castle of Argiano was founded, and since there Argiano has always been a wine producers and a farm, so cereals, wine, olive trees, animal producers.
Can you help us with the region? We know a lot, we know a fair bit about Brunello, but there's many different places to be in Brunello. So where you're situated, just tell us how you're situated, how it affects your vineyards.
So that's a very important thing about Montalcino and about Brunello. Montalcino is such a fantastic region. It's 24,000 hectares, 18,000 hectares of woods, of forest, and this is great to have. And then there are 4 macro areas where they make wine. Argiano is in the southwest side of the hill of Montalcino. So there's the northeast, northwest, southwest, southeast side of the hill. Montalcino, the village, is on top of the hill. And then there are those different areas. Argiano is in the southwest side of the hill, just in the middle, 300 meters above the sea level. So that's a very good position also, because being in the middle of the hill of Montalcino allow us to get the concentration in the wine that you get in the southern region, and still the complexity in the nose that you get from the higher altitudes.
You're big on sustainability now and on protecting the earth. Sometimes maybe we don't know enough about mixed agriculture. Why is that so important to have mixed agriculture in a vineyard site?
So that's it's so important to me, and this is the great treasure of Montalcino in general, not only Argiano. Montalcino is a totally uncontaminated area. There's nothing industrial in 24,000 hectares. There is the forest that is covering more than 60% of the region, and this is great to have. And then there is not only vineyards, there is cereals, honey production, olive trees, and the same we want to have in Argiano. Argiano used to be a farm, so used to have different lands, forest, vineyards, olive trees, honey production. We want to increase the biodiversity. We want to attract insects that are very important. We want to have bees around. So all these increase the potential life and energy of our vineyards. And this is so important to make terroir-driven wines and energetic wines.
Let's talk a bit about Sangiovese. We know a little bit about it. One thing I know is it doesn't grow very well outside of Italy. It's a special place, but is it different in Montalcino than it is, say in other parts of Tuscany or other parts of Italy?
Sangiovese is not an easy grape. Italian immigrants tried to export the Sangiovese all over the world, but with no success. Sangiovese grows well only in central Italy, so between Emilia-Romagna and Tuscany, but especially in Tuscany and especially around Siena has its best place. So Siena has the Chianti Classico region in the northern part, the Nobile di Montepulciano in the eastern part, and in the southern part there is Montalcino. Montalcino is the greatest terroir for Sangiovese. It's a mixture of the soils. They have very different soils with limestones and pretty rocky soils. The position, so we are in the southern part of Tuscany, The altitude, we are in a hill that goes from 200 up to 600 meters above the sea level. All those combined together makes a perfect place for Sangiovese. Not such a great place for other vines or for other plants, but for the vines of Sangiovese, it's a perfect environment to make great wines.
And for our viewers, the word Brunello, how does that fit into Sangiovese?
That's a good question. It's the way local people used to call Sangiovese from the beginning. You know that Biondi Santi created these great wines using only certain clones of Sangiovese in the late 19th century. And back there, they used to call it Brunello. That means a darker color. So it's referring to the color of the Sangiovese. Another name they used to use is Sangiovese Grosso, because the berries of the Sangiovese are pretty big, especially the clones, the original clones from Biondi Santi times.
Yeah, well, here in Canada, we're about to see the major release of the 2015 vintages. I've just been tasting through some of these wines. It's a sensational year. It reminds me so much. I was talking earlier to some people about, you just have to taste that wine once and know that that wine's going to live forever, and then it's going to be a great wine. It's a really great vintage. What can you tell us about 15, 16, 14? What will we see coming now?
So the 15, you're right, was a fantastic vintage. Someone called one of the best vintage ever. I can say that in overall was a warm vintage, a little bit like it is now 2020, that started with warmer weather than usual in winter, then a good rainy springtime. This is very important because June was rainy and pretty cool, and this allowed the vines to stand against a pretty warm summertime in July and August. Then in September, in early September, rained again, and this allowed to postpone the ripening season until end of September, early October. Whenever you harvest in October, it's a great sign for us, for Brunello producer, for Sangiovese, because it means that Sangiovese had all the time to develop everything, flavors, color, anthocyanins, and complexity. And there you make a great Brunello, because it's both long aging, it maintains the freshness, the acidity, but also with such richness in flavors and complexity and silky tannins.
Yeah, one thing I noticed though is I would say it's more of a tweak than a change, but I taste that wine and the wine is as elegant as I've ever seen it now. I know you've been doing some work. What's going on in terms of the vineyard and the work that you've been doing? What have you been trying to do with the Brunello?
So in Argiano, the 15 vintage, really we see a combining effect of a great vintage and all the efforts done in the vineyards and the cellar for the past years. You know that in winemaking, you see the results after some years. So we started in 2012, being organic, trying to increase the biodiversity of our estate. We bent all the smaller casks for the aging of the Sangiovese using only big oak barrels from 1,000 liters up. We did a new underground cellar. We started the restoration of the old castle and the old cellar that now looks amazing. And we started also the micro mapping of the vineyards of Sangiovese. This project, in collaboration with Parra and Alberto Antonini, did create a very precise way of winemaking. We know exactly what we have under each of the best vineyards of Sangiovese, of Brunello that we have. We do single harvest, single winemaking, single aging, and then at the very end, we do the blends of the best vineyards of Brunello. All those projects, I think, lead it to increase the quality, and not only increase the quality, to make terroir-driven wines. And the terroir of Argiano, one word only that can describe it is elegance.
Well, that 15 is super balanced. I guess just quickly, how would you tell us the difference between the regular Brunello? I say regular, it's not so regular, and the single vineyard Suolo. Is that a selection? That's obviously a vineyard selection too, or a block selection?
The Vigna del Suolo is born after the project with Pedro Parra. So
Okay.
we found out that the oldest vineyard of Brunello that we have, the Vigna del Suolo, almost 60 years old vineyard, does have the best terroir for Sangiovese. There's a part at around 2 meters underneath the vineyard that is extremely rich in limestones. And there you have the great effect on Sangiovese, that is the making a Sangiovese that is vertical, souring the taste, very complex in the nose. So we decided to make just a few thousand bottles, less than 4,000 bottles, in vintage 15, that is a fantastic, extraordinary vintage, just to have the Vigna del Suolo. So comparing the regular, the Classico Brunello, it's a blend between different vineyards. So there is a vineyard that is more complex, a vineyard that is more powerful, something that is smoother. So we combine everything together to make a classic, fantastic, very nice Brunello.
Magic, that wine. Congratulations, and I'm so happy to see. I'm so happy to see this return to elegance. I think it's the way to go, and it's the only way to best express what's going on. You know, a wine I want to talk about, because we've seen it for so long in Canada, and I don't know if there's any controversy, but Solengo and Super Tuscan and the founding of that wine. What's going on with Super Tuscan today? Is it still used? Do you not want to use it? Do you want to use it? What's happening?
I think it's still a good word to describe wines that are now becoming some classic wines. So I think Super Tuscan is a good word to use for Ornellaia, for Sassicaia, for Solaia, Masseto, even and also for Solengo. So for those wines who made in a certain way the history of winemaking in Italy in a certain period. That was, well, Sassicaia started before, but the explosion of the Super Tuscan was in the 90s. So those fabulous wines, mostly created by Giacomo Takis, a winemaker that was also consulting in Argiano in the 90s, I think the Super Tuscan word described them very easily, very well. Solengo is part of the group because was very important wine for Argiano, especially in the 90s, and we are keeping the history alive, trying to make a Solengo that is worth of all the efforts made by Giacomo Takis in Argiano.
Big wine, some interesting grapes in it, but still elegant. Still has at the core of it, it has this Argiano style, which I think is so important. I think it puts the stamp on that wine and gives it a sense of place, I think.
You wouldn't guess probably that there is almost 25% of Petit Verdot inside the blend. Yeah. So it's a blend of Cabernet Sauvignon 50, Petit Verdot 25%, 20% Merlot, and 5% Sangiovese. And so the Petit Verdot is a lot, but you don't feel it because, again, Argiano terroir, Argiano main feature is more about being elegant and giving a pretty integrated tannins rather than being aggressive or high in concentration.
Yeah. Finally, you have a wine. It's a very interesting wine, sells quite well in Canada, NC, which is, now, does it take its name from the motto, from Argiano's motto? What is NC? What should we know about that?
Right. It's fun. NC takes the name from the family crest of Gaetani Lovatelli family, the family who owned Argiano for some centuries. They used to have also 2 popes in the family, and means not to be confused. So inconfondibile in Italian, non confunditor is Latin, is the Roman way to call it, not to be confused in English. And it's also, again, a blend, a Cabernet blend with Cabernet 50%, Merlot, and some Sangiovese. So it's like the Rosso di Montalcino is a younger, fresher, almost everyday expression of Brunello di Montalcino. We wanted to have similar for Solengo. So Solengo is a fantastic wine, full body, very long aging. We wanted to create something that has the quality of Solengo, but is more for regular use, let's say, very food-friendly wine, gastronomic, with a nice Cabernet structure, but also the softness given by the Merlot, and a touch of freshness, of acidity of Tuscany from Sangiovese.
Bernardino, I don't know where you get all your time. We're out of time now, but we would encourage our viewers to check out the agriturismo at your site. You've got beautiful place now to stay, and I know that we're going to get back there someday. But it's been great to chat with you today and to catch up with Argiano, and we look forward to all these new releases in Canada.
It's a big, big pleasure, Anthony. It's a big pleasure, and I would like to invite, first of all, you to come to Argiano whenever you like, because we did restore all the property, and the Renaissance cellar looks amazing. And everybody who is viewing is invited to come to Argiano. We have a wine resort, only 12 rooms, also completely restored, trying to be in line with the villa, with the castle that is in front, and everybody can stay there, relax, or come to the cellar, drink some wines with me, and go to the vineyards with Francesco, the agronomist of Argiano.
Yeah, I think Brunello is the best vaccine of all, so I'm going to see you soon.
Thank you, thank you.
Thanks, Bernardino. Thanks for joining us on Gizmonia Wine.
Grazie, hello to everybody. Ciao a tutti.
Ciao.